Good morning, friends. So it was almost all 3 days gap. So previously we have discussed, that is on Friday, this 2 days gap. So on Friday I have completed the entire emergency provisions. So I have discussed about the national emergency, the state emergency, and the financial emergency, right? So I've discussed about the grounds of imposing all these types of emergencies and the effects of these emergencies, right? So we have completed this emergency provisions, right? And in today's class, let me talk about center state relations. Let me talk about center state relations, right? That is the constitutional scheme of distribution of powers. It is distribution of powers between center and states. Distribution of powers between center and states, right? So which is clearly enumerated in 7th schedule of Indian Constitution. So 7th schedule of Indian Constitution, it deals with this distribution of powers, right? So there is a clear distribution of legislative, executive, and financial powers. Clear distribution of legislative, executive, and financial powers between center and states, right? So already in the previous classes we have talked about the nature of Indian Federation. So already I had a discussion on nature of Indian Federation, and even we have commented about Indian Federation, saying that India is a quasi-federal system. So we have a quasi-federation, quasi-federal system. Alright? That means if you take Indian Union, India is a union with federal features. So clearly Article 1 of Indian Constitution, has made India as a union. So ante India annadi quasi federal system. And if you take Article 1 em cheptundi, India is a union with federal features. Ante federal features unnappatiki still it is a union. Alright? So this is what we have commented. That means, so though there is distribution of powers, but in certain conditions, India center has complete control over all the powers of states. And the distribution of powers unnappatiki avasaramainappudu, whenever required, alright, center can take control over the state powers, or central can make laws on the state subjects. So ఎప్పుడైనా అవసరం వచ్చినప్పుడు, రైట్, సో అవసరం ఉన్నప్పుడల్లా సెంటర్ స్టేట్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్ మీద లాస్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. సెంటర్ హ్యాస్ ఎవ్రీ పవర్ టు మేక్ లాస్ ఆన్ స్టేట్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్, రైట్? సో దిస్ ఈజ్ వాట్ the nature of Indian Federation is. So whenever required, center can make laws on state subjects, right? So if you take this 7th schedule, so 7th schedule has clearly distributed the legislative powers, executive powers, and financial powers. List one of 7th schedule. It deals with powers of union. List 1 of 7th schedule deals with subjects of union. Similarly, list 2 of union. List 2 of union deals with the state subjects. List 1 emo union subjects, list 2 state subjects, list 3 of 7th schedule. If you take this list 3, so list 3 it is about concurrent subjects. It is concurrent subjects. List 3 is about concurrent subjects. So what do you mean by concurrent subjects? Concurrent subjects ante em ledu, right? Those subjects where center and states can make laws. Center and states renditki powers untayi, right? Both center and states have powers over this concurrent subjects, right? So now coming to list 1. List 1 has 1 or 2 subjects. List 2 it has 61 subjects. List 2 has 61 subjects and list 3 has 52 subjects. That means union can make laws on these 102, right? 1 or 2 subjects, right? State can make laws on 61 subjects, whereas both center and states, they can make laws. They can make laws on these 52 subjects. So I'll explain them in detail. All right. So here in this regard, I'll mention some of the important articles. అంటే ఖచ్చితంగా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సిన articles. Article 245, Article 246, Article 248, Article 249, Article 250, Article 252. So ఇందులో Article 248, 259, 250, 252. These are very, very important articles regarding distribution of legislative powers. So you should remember these articles mandatorily. ఖచ్చితంగా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సిన ఆర్టికల్స్ ఇవి, రైట్? 248, 249 and 252. So Article 245. So both Article 245 and Article 246, both Article 245 and Article 246, they deal with jurisdiction of center and states. Jurisdiction of center and states అంటే సెంటర్ స్టేట్స్ యొక్క పరిధి, రైట్? సో వాట్ ఈస్ ద jurisdiction of center and what is the jurisdiction of states? So both Article 245 and 246. Article 245 talks about territorial jurisdiction. Article 245 talks about territorial jurisdiction. Article 246 talks about subject wise jurisdiction. Article 245 is territorial jurisdiction. Article 246 is subject wise jurisdiction. Alright, so one is territorial jurisdiction, other one is subject wise jurisdiction. ఇవి బాగా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. సో Article 245 అంటే extent of laws made. Alright, so what is the territorial jurisdiction of center and what is the territorial jurisdiction of states? Jurisdiction of center and states. Alright, so if you take territorial jurisdiction of center, center can make laws for the entire nation. అంటే ఇప్పుడు సెంటర్ jurisdiction తీసుకుంటే the jurisdiction of center is over entire nation. Alright, so this is one thing. The same time parliament can make laws even beyond Indian territory. That means the laws made by parliament are applicable to the entire territory of India. Not only this, it even has extraterritorial jurisdiction, right? So laws made by parliament, they are applicable for the entire nation, that is entire territory of India. The same time it even has extraterritorial jurisdiction, so parliament has extraterritorial jurisdiction, right? So this is the territorial jurisdiction of center. అంటే పార్లమెంట్ చేసిన చట్టాలు they are applicable to the entire nation, అంటే entire territory of India. And coming to extraterritorial jurisdiction, so if you take this extraterritorial jurisdiction, so this includes, right, this extraterritorial jurisdiction includes the laws made by parliament, right? The laws made by parliament, they can even be made applicable, beyond Indian territory. So any subject, right, any subject that has an impact on India, so ఇండియాకు సంబంధించినంత వరకు ఇండియాని ఇంపాక్ట్ చేసే ఏ విషయమైనా సరే, రైట్, సో దాని మీద పార్లమెంట్కి పూర్తిగా అధికారం ఉంటుంది. సో పార్లమెంట్ హ్యాస్ కంప్లీట్ పవర్స్ on these subjects. Alright, so this is article 245 about center. And coming to states, alright, the laws made by states are applicable only to the territory of that states, not beyond states territory. So the laws made by states are applicable only within the geographical territory, of India, of that states. అంటే స్టేట్స్ చేసిన చట్టాలు, స్టేట్కి సంబంధించిన చట్టాలు అవి ఆ జాగ్రఫికల్ టెరిటరీలోకి మాత్రమే అప్లికబుల్ అవుతాయి, కానీ బియాండ్ దట్ ఇట్ వోంట్ బి అప్లికబుల్. సో దే ఆర్ అప్లికబుల్ ఓన్లీ వితిన్ ది territorial jurisdiction, within the geographical territory of that states. Alright, so that is what you should remember. So both parliament can make laws, the state legislative assemblies, can make laws. So the laws made by parliament are applicable to the entire nation, as well as parliament laws can be applied beyond the nation, that is extraterritorial jurisdiction. Whereas if you take state can make laws within the territory of that state, so within the geographical territory of that states. That means, right, can we say that states have a jurisdiction beyond its geographical territory? Can we say that the state laws can be made applicable beyond its territorial jurisdiction? Can we say that the states have an extraterritorial jurisdiction? ఉండొచ్చా, ఉంటాయా? The laws made by states, can they be applied beyond the state's jurisdiction? What do you say? I want your answers, I want your replies. I'm waiting for you. The one who is in online, please do send your answers. Use the comment box. Alright, so remember, states కి ఆ పవర్ లేదు. ఎక్స్ట్రా టెరిటోరియల్ జుడిక్షన్ అన్న కాన్సెప్ట్ స్టేట్స్కి వర్తించదు. రైట్, ద లాస్ మేడ్ బై స్టేట్ ఆర్ అప్లికబుల్ ఓన్లీ విత్ ఇన్ ది టెరిటోరియల్ జుడిక్షన్ ఆఫ్ ది స్టేట్స్, బట్ నాట్ బియాండ్ ది స్టేట్స్. దట్ మీన్స్ states they don't have no extraterritorial jurisdiction. There is no extraterritorial jurisdiction. For states. So it is only within the states. Chudandi, right? You can compare now. Parliament has extraterritorial jurisdiction, whereas states have no extraterritorial jurisdiction. So this is the difference between what you call the legislative powers of parliament and states, which are mentioned in article 245. And coming to article 246, state can make laws according to article 246. According to article 246, state can make laws on the subjects which are mentioned within their own list. That is, center can make laws on subjects which are mentioned in list 1. Alright, center can make laws on the subjects which are mentioned in list 1, whereas states can make laws, alright, state can make laws on the subjects which are mentioned in list 2. అంటే సెంటర్కి తనకంటూ ఒక లిస్ట్ ఉంది, స్టేట్స్కి తనకంటూ ఒక లిస్ట్ ఉంది. సెంటర్ లాస్ ఆర్ అప్లికబుల్ ఓన్లీ ఆన్ టు ది స్టేట్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్, సెంట్రల్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్, whereas state laws are applicable only to the state subjects. Right? So there is a clear demarcation. There is a clear demarcation of what you call central subjects and state subjects. There is a clear demarcation of central subjects and state subjects. Alright, am I clear? So center cannot make laws on state subjects in normal conditions. బాగా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, నార్మల్ కండిషన్స్లో సెంటర్ cannot make laws on state subjects, and similarly states cannot make laws on central subjects. So center cannot make laws on state subjects, on the state subjects, and vice versa. I'm sorry. So this is the condition. Normal conditions lo center state subjects మీద, states central subjects మీద లాస్ చేయడానికి వీల్లేదు. Alright, so it cannot make laws on the either subjects. ఒక వాటర్ బాటిల్ కొనుక్కుంటారా? Am I clear? So there is a clear distribution of powers. There is a clear distribution of powers. So in normal conditions, center cannot make laws on state subjects and states cannot make laws on the central subjects. But in extraordinary conditions, remember, center can make laws on state subjects also in extraordinary conditions. In extraordinary conditions, center can make laws on state subjects. నార్మల్ కండిషన్స్లో, నార్మల్ సిచ్యువేషన్స్లో సెంటర్ స్టేట్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్ మీద లాస్ చేయడానికి వీల్లేదు. కానీ ఎక్స్ట్రాడినరీ కండిషన్స్లో మాత్రము సెంటర్ కెన్ మేక్ లాస్ ఆన్ ది స్టేట్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్. Center can make laws on the state subjects. Alright. So what are that extraordinary conditions? Article 249, 250 చెప్తాను మీకు అవి, కానీ ఇది గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. నార్మల్గా అయితే సెంట్రల్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్ మీద, స్టేట్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్ మీద, కానీ ఎక్స్ట్రాడినరీ కండిషన్స్లో సెంటర్ కెన్ మేక్ లాస్ ఆన్ స్టేట్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్. అది ఎప్పుడు అన్నది ఐల్ డిస్కస్. రైట్, ఐల్ డిస్కస్ the conditions where center can make laws. But as of now, remember that center can make laws on state subjects. Now if you look at this, if you look at this distribution of powers, alright, in extraordinary conditions center can make laws on state subjects. Similarly, center has extraterritorial jurisdiction which is not available for states. So don't you think this as a unitary futures of unitary system. When you look at these 2 points, or when you look at these 2 elements, don't you think that these are the futures of a unitary system? Yes or no? Don't you think that they are features of unitary system? Definitely yes. Definitely yes. They are the features of unitary system. That is the reason why we call Indian Federation as a quasi-federal, or Indian Federation is unitary one. India is more unitary. So these are the examples of unitary system. These are the examples of unitary systems. Alright. So this is how we can say that India is a unitary system. India is a more unitary and less federal. More unitary and cheppadaniki, right? Centralistic and cheppadaniki ivi examples. Alright. So centers power on state subjects in extraordinary conditions, extraterritorial powers enjoyed by parliament, right? So in previously, even when we have talked about procedure for amendments, we have discussed these points. We have discussed this. Center alone having the powers, parliament alone having the powers to amend the constitution. And if you look at the participation of states in the amending procedures, do really states have any role? Do really states have any power to participate? Alright. Do states have any power to participate in the amendment procedures? Do you think that states have the powers to participate? States have no power. States have no power to initiate the process of amendments, and states have a limited powers in certain conditions. So you take emergency provisions, you take procedure for amending the constitution, and if you take this distribution of what you call legislative powers, between central and states. So all these denotes, right, centralizing tendencies. They denote centralizing tendency of Indian constitution or centralizing tendency of Indian federation. So why India is more unitary? India ఎందుకు యూనిటరీ? రీజన్స్ ఏంటిదంటే ఎమర్జెన్సీ ప్రొవిజన్స్ తీసుకున్నా, ప్రొవిజన్ ఫర్ అమెండ్మెంట్స్ చూసినా, డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ ఆఫ్ legislative powers చూసుకున్నా. సో when you use this what you call distribution of powers, or when you use this as an example, definitely we can say that India is more unitary and less federal. So chudandi, this is how you should write the answers. So when it comes to writing answers, this is how you should present your answers. So why India is more unitary? What are the features of unitary system in India? So these are the examples. Article 2, Article 3 of Indian Constitution. That is, what is Article 2, Article 3 of Indian Constitution? What they deal with? What is this Article 2 and what is Article 3? What does they deal with? It deal with creation of states. They deal with creation of states. అంతే కదా. ఇందులో మళ్ళీ ఎవరికి పవర్స్ ఉన్నాయి? స్టేట్స్ కా, సెంటర్ కా? Center has more powers when compared to the states. It is a center which will initiate. So when you look at all these features, remember all these features denote that Indian Federation is more unitary. Alright. So when a question comes on this, these are the examples that you should use, and it is very, very important for mains exam. Without center state relations, without federation, there won't be a question paper. I'm challenging. Every year, as long as you write UPSC exam, మీరు యూపీఎస్సీ ఎగ్జామ్ రాసినంత వరకు సెంటర్ స్టేట్ రిలేషన్స్ మీద, ఫెడరేషన్స్ మీద ఖచ్చితంగా క్వశ్చన్ వస్తూనే ఉంటుంది. ఇది గ్యారంటీ. ఇంకా నో ఎగ్జామ్షన్. ఎక్కడి నుంచైనా క్వశ్చన్ రావచ్చు. మోస్ట్లీ ద క్వశ్చన్ విల్ బి ఆస్క్డ్ ఆన్ వర్కింగ్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియన్ ఫెడరేషన్. Purely it is based upon this working of Indian Federation. So why India is more unitary? What need to be done? వాట్ రైట్ హౌ టు ప్రమోట్ ఫెడరల్ స్పిరిట్ ఇన్ ఇండియన్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్, ఇలాంటి క్వశ్చన్స్ ఒపీనియన్ బేస్డ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ వస్తాయి, గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. ఇట్ విల్ బీ ఒపీనియన్ బేస్డ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ దట్ విల్ బీ ఆస్క్డ్ ఇన్ యూపీఎస్సి, particularly in these topics of center state relations. All right, so this is what about article 245 and article 246. So just we have completed article 248 245 and 246. Now coming to this concurrent subjects. If you take this concurrent subjects, so on list 1 subjects, on list 1 center can make laws, on list 2 states can make laws. Then coming to concurrent subjects, who can make laws on concurrent subjects? Remember, it is both center and states. It is both center and states that can make laws on concurrent subjects. Both center and states can make laws on concurrent subjects. All right, but as long as there is no conflicts between center and states, conflicts లేనంత వరకు ఇబ్బంది ఏం లేదు. As long as there is no conflicts between center and states, there is no issue. But in case of conflicts, if there is a conflict between the laws made by center and the laws made by states, in case of conflict between center and state laws, then what is the పరిస్థితి? ఒకవేళ సెంట్రల్ లాస్ స్టేట్ లాస్ మధ్య కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్స్ వచ్చినాయి అనుకోండి, అప్పుడు పరిస్థితి ఏంటిది? విచ్ లాస్ విల్ ప్రివేల్ ఓవర్? దేనికి ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఇవ్వాలి? ఇట్ ఈస్ టు ద లాస్ ఆఫ్ సెంటర్. సో ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ conflicts between the central laws and state laws, all right, in case of conflicts between central laws and state laws, it is the central law, it is the laws made by center that will be implemented over the state laws. So central laws will prevail over the state laws. ఎప్పుడైనా సెంటర్కి స్టేట్ మధ్యన కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్స్ వచ్చినప్పుడు అది సెంట్రల్ లాస్ మాత్రమే ప్రివేల్ అవుతాయి, సెంట్రల్ లాస్ మాత్రమే అప్లికేషన్లో ఉంటాయి, కానీ స్టేట్ లాస్ కాదు. రైట్, సో సెంట్రల్ లాస్ విల్ ప్రివేల్ ఓవర్ ది స్టేట్ లాస్. రైట్, సో దిస్ is about the conflicts between central laws and state laws over this what you call concurrent subjects. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, try to by heart the list. Of course it is not that easy to remember, but there are certain important subjects, so just try to have a glance over the subjects of center, state and concurrent list. యూపీఎస్లో అడిగే ఛాన్స్ చాలా తక్కువ, కానీ ఒకసారి చూసుకోండి. లక్ష్మీకాంత్ బుక్లో యూ హ్యావ్ దిస్ ఇన్ వాట్ యు కాల్ అపెండిక్స్. రైట్, సో just have a glance over the subjects. All right, just have a glance over the central subjects and state subjects. All right, important అది ఎగ్జామ్కి. ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇన్ ద సెన్స్ గ్రూప్ 1 గ్రూప్ 2 లాంటి వాటికి ఇంపార్టెంట్, కానీ కమింగ్ టు సివిల్స్ అంత పెద్దగా క్వశ్చన్ లిఫ్ట్ చేయడు. బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్, ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ సే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ law and order, let me take the example of law and order. Under which list is this law and order is? It is in the state list. Previously we have seen the subject of law and order. All right, previously we have seen the subject of law and order. It is in what you call state list. Forestry, it is in concurrent list. Education, it is in concurrent list. All right, so that is health, concurrent list. So the subjects which are in concurrent list, both center and states can make laws. The subjects which are in concurrent list, both center and state can make laws. All right, so I want to know one thing from you, whether today voice is clear. Do you find any kind of resounds and anything? Do you find any kind of resounds in the class? మీకు క్లాస్లో రీసౌండ్ కానీ ఏమైనా వినిపిస్తున్నాయా? వెదర్ మై వాయిస్ ఈస్ క్లియర్? The previous class, the class on Thursday, it was totally disturbing. That is the reason why I want to have a clarity from you. Alright? So it is both. Alright. So that is on the subjects like health, education, all these subjects, both center and states can make laws. That means on concurrent subjects, both center and states have power, whereas in case of conflicts, it is the central laws that will prevail over the state laws. Am I clear? Alright. So this is the distribution of powers, alright, distribution of powers between center and states, or the jurisdiction of powers, of center and states. Now coming to Article 248, another important article. So 248 deals with residuary subjects. It deals with residuary subjects. That means what? Residuary subjects అంటే అర్థం ఏంటిది? Those subjects which are not mentioned in any of the list. Residuary subjects means those subjects which are not mentioned in any of the list. ఏ లిస్ట్లో మెన్షన్ చేయని subjects, they are called as residuary subjects. So on these residuary subjects, who enjoys the power? Who has the power to make laws on residuary subjects? So it is Parliament. It is Parliament that can make laws. It is Parliament that can make laws on residuary subjects. It is a Parliament that can make laws on residuary subjects. Parliament has every power. Parliament has every power to make laws on residuary subjects. Right? Parliament has every power to make laws on residuary subjects. Right? So this is what the power of Parliament is. The power of Parliament to make laws on residuary subjects. Remember, if you compare this with 1935 Act, according to 1935 Act, the power to make laws on residuary subjects, it is given to Viceroy. మీరు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, 1935 యాక్ట్ ప్రకారము, అకార్డింగ్ టు 1935 యాక్ట్, ఇట్ ఈజ్ వైస్రాయ్ హూ ఎంజాయ్డ్ ద పవర్. To make laws on residuary subjects. It is a viceroy who enjoyed the power to make laws on residuary subjects. Okay. But coming to present day constitution, under present day constitution, it is Parliament. So just compare this. According to 1935 Act, it is Viceroy, and according to present day constitution, it is Parliament of India. So it is Parliament of India that has the power. It is a Parliament of India that has the power to make laws on residuary subjects. Am I clear to you? Am I clear or not? Any doubts on this residuary subjects? So we have seen territorial jurisdiction, we have seen subject wise jurisdiction, at the same time we have seen the residuary subjects. So till now whatever we have completed, do you have any doubts on these? I don't think that you have any doubt. Okay then. Next, moving on to the most important one, that is Article 249. If you ask me, ఇప్పటిదాకా ఈ మొత్తం లిస్టులో అన్నిటికన్నా ఎక్కువ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఆర్టికల్ 249. If you ask me, it is Article 249, right, there were many a times directly question have come only on Article 249. Many a times in UPSC mains directly questions have come on Article 249, right. So am I clear on this point? So Article 249 is Article 249 talks about power of Parliament. Article 249 talks about power of Parliament. So someone has asked doubt. I think let me clear the doubts first and then I'll go to the class. All right. Let me see your doubts once. All right. So what is the difference between, what was the doubt it was asked? Center parliament difference enti sir. Center ki parliament difference enti? అధికార పరిధి ఎక్కువ. ఓకే. What is Article 246? So once again there are two important dots here. One is what is Article 246? Article 246 is about the subject wise jurisdiction. Article 245 territorial jurisdiction and Article 246 is about subject wise jurisdiction. Achyutarao, I think it was alright. So this was the one doubt raised. And coming to center and parliament. So whenever I use the word center, right, union, right, who will make union? Who will make laws for the union? In case of union, so what is the legislative branch of union? What is the legislative branch of union? So when we talk about legislative branch of union, it is, right, parliament. So parliament is the legislative organ of union. Legislative assembly is, it is the legislative branch of states. అర్థమైందమ్మా నీలవేణి, right? So parliament is legislative branch, legislative organ of center. So center has its own executive organ, center has legislative organ, right? So parliament is the legislative organ of the center, whereas union government, prime minister, council of ministers, it is the executive branch of center. Similarly, if you take states have what you call legislative assembly, state legislature antam manam. Normally it is called as state legislature, which includes assembly as well as legislative council. It is the legislative organ of the state, whereas chief minister and his council of ministers, they act as executive branch of the state. Alright. So this is what your doubt is, Neelaveni. Whether your doubt got cleared? Alright. Okay then. So next let me move towards Article 249. Very important article for exam. If you take this Article 249, Article 249 deals with power of parliament to make laws on state subjects. Article 249 deals with power of parliament to make laws on state subjects. Chudandi, now you see this, there is a change. What is that change? Now parliament has the power to make laws on state subjects. Intamundu cheppina, in certain conditions, that is in extraordinary conditions, Parliament can make laws on state subjects. Center can make laws on state subjects. So when we talk about center-state relations, so when we are learning center-state relations, we should remember two things: the conditions, normal conditions, extraordinary conditions. One is normal conditions and extraordinary conditions. Normal conditions and extraordinary conditions. So if you take this normal conditions, if you take normal conditions, center తన సబ్జెక్ట్స్ మీద, స్టేట్ తన సబ్జెక్ట్స్ మీద. అదే ఎక్స్ట్రాడినరీ కండిషన్స్లో ఏంటిది? సెంటర్ కెన్ మేక్ లాస్ ఆన్ స్టేట్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్. సో ఇది ఇంపార్టెంట్. దట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్ వై ఆర్టికల్ 249 ఈస్ ఆల్వేస్ ఆస్క్డ్ ఇన్ యూపీఎస్సీ ఎగ్జామ్, రైట్? సో ఆర్టికల్ 249 says that, right, Parliament can make laws on state subjects, right, in national interest. In national interest. So in the name of national interest, in the name of national interest, right, Parliament can make laws, right? Parliament can make laws in case of what you call Article 249. In case of Article 249, Parliament can make laws on state subjects, right, in the name of national interest, right? So this is what the point is. So what is national interest? What is national interest? What is national interest? So if you take this national interest, this is not defined by Parliament. This is not defined in Constitution. The word national interest is not defined in Constitution. It is not defined in Constitution. Now who will define? It is defined by law of Parliament. It is defined by law of Parliament. So it is the Parliament that will define the meaning of national interest. Ante entidi, we don't have a concrete meaning of national interest. We don't have a concrete definition of national interest in Constitution. In our Constitution, the word national interest is not exactly defined. It is not exactly defined, right? It is not exactly defined. So it will be defined by Parliament. So it is Parliament that will define this. It is a Parliament that will define the word national interest, right? Simply, whenever there is a need for uniformity, whenever there is a need for uniformity, then center can make laws on the state subjects, right? When there is a necessity for having a uniform laws, so uniformity here means it is uniformity in laws. When there is a need for uniform laws in India, in such conditions, Parliament can take the responsibility of making laws. So Parliament can make laws on the state subjects, right? So this is what Article 249 says. So according to Article 249, right, according to Article 249, Parliament can make laws on state subjects whenever there is uniformity. Remember, I want to make one point very clear. In case if I am wrong in any point, I will clarify, because I don't want to misguide the students, and I am very open to this, right? So na valla ఏ స్టూడెంట్ కూడా నష్టపోకూడదు, because in last 14 years I had the habit of accepting my own mistakes, right? So I don't feel any shy. So normally if I'm wrong, I'll correct it, right? But 99% I won't be wrong, but as I am a human being, still there is an every chance of an error. I don't discard this. So if there is any kind of thing, so this as you are new to me, చాలామంది నాకు గురించి తెలియదు అండ్ నాకు కొత్త కాబట్టి మీరు ఒక పాయింట్ తెలుసుకోండి, రైట్? ఎవ్రీ పాయింట్ will be clearly dealt and clearly discussed in the class. And if there is anything wrong, because after the end of the class I have the habit of cross checking of what I have taught. Normally for last 14 years I have the same habit. నేను 14 years ముందు ఎలా ఉన్నానో ఇప్పుడు అలానే నేను క్లాస్ చెప్పిన తర్వాత ప్రతి పాయింట్ మళ్ళీ క్రాస్ చెక్ చేసుకుంటాను నేను. రైట్? I don't have any shy in this. So in case of, according to Article 249, on this ground, that is, right, whenever there is a necessity, whenever there is a need for uniformity of laws, Parliament can make laws on such subjects. Right? Right? So Parliament has every power. Parliament has every power to make laws on state subjects. So this is the condition. But there is a procedure for this. Article 249 also provides, Article 249 provides a procedure for making such laws. Procedure for making such laws, right? So if you take this Article 249, if you take Article 249, alright, a law can be made by Parliament on any state subject provided if a resolution is passed in Rajya Sabha. So without providing a resolution, without passing a resolution in Rajya Sabha, a law under Article 249 cannot be passed. అంటే ఆర్టికల్ 249 ప్రకారం లా పాస్ చేయాలి అంటే ఖచ్చితంగా ముందు రాజ్యసభలో ఒక తీర్మానం పాస్ కావాలి. రాజ్యసభలో రెజల్యూషన్ పాస్ చేయకుండా ఎలాంటి లా చేయడానికి వీల్లేదు, రైట్? సో ఖచ్చితంగా కావాల్సింది ఏంటిది? రెజల్యూషన్ నీడ్ టు బి పాస్డ్. రెజల్యూషన్ నీడ్ టు బి పాస్డ్ ఇన్ రాజ్యసభ విత్ స్పెషల్ మెజారిటీ. ద ఫస్ట్ స్టెప్ అండర్ ఆర్టికల్ 249 ఈస్ పాసింగ్ ఆఫ్ రెజల్యూషన్ in Rajya Sabha by special majority. By special majority, that is a majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting, 2/3 of members present and voting, such that 50% are present, such that 50% are present. So this is the condition. So this is the condition for passing the resolution. This is how a resolution is passed in Rajya Sabha. So without passing a resolution in Rajya Sabha, right, a law on a state subject cannot be passed by Lok Sabha. అర్థమవుతుంది కదా? సో లోక్సభలో లా పాస్ కావాలి అంటే ముందుగా రాజ్యసభలో రెజల్యూషన్ పాస్ కావాలి. So a resolution need to be passed in Rajya Sabha by special majority, that is a majority of 2/3 of members present and voting, such that 50% are present. So just please go through this special majority. The special majority that we have talked previously under Article 368 and the special majority that we are talking now, they are different. సో ముందున్న స్పెషల్ అంటే మనం ఆర్టికల్ 368లో చూసిన స్పెషల్ మెజారిటీ, ఇప్పుడు చూస్తున్న స్పెషల్ మెజారిటీ రెండు ఒకటి కాదు. దెర్ ఈజ్ అ డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ ద స్పెషల్ మెజారిటీ మెన్షన్డ్ ఇన్ ఆర్టికల్ 368 అండ్ ద స్పెషల్ మెజారిటీ మెన్షన్డ్ ఇన్ ఆర్టికల్ 249. దే ఆర్ డిఫరెంట్. ఇన్ ఆర్టికల్ 368 it is 2/3 of all the members present and voting, but here it is 2/3 of members present and voting. అక్కడ ఆల్ అన్న పదం ఉంది, ఇక్కడ ఆల్ అన్న పదం లేదు. 2/3 of under Article 368 it is 2/3 of all the members, alright, but here it is 2/3 members present and voting, such that 50% are present, present in the house. So this is the majority required. This is the majority required under Article 249. Under Article 249. Alright. So when a resolution passed in Rajya Sabha, so after passing a resolution, now Lok Sabha can make a law. Lok Sabha can make a law, right, by simple majority on a state subject. Alright. So Lok Sabha by simple majority, it can make a law on state subjects. It can make a law on state subjects. So that is how Parliament can make laws on state subject under Article 249. Under Article 249, Parliament can make laws on these state subjects. Alright. So, resolution in Rajya Sabha first by special majority, then a law to be passed in Lok Sabha by simple majority. Right. So, this is how the laws are made under Article 249. Alright. So, take down a question on this point. Take down a question on this point. Take down a question. Explain the procedure. Explain the procedure. Explain the procedure for making of laws. Explain the procedure for making of laws by Parliament on a state subject. Alright. Explain the procedure for making of laws by Parliament on a state subject according to Article 249. According to Article 249. So, explain the procedure for making of laws by Parliament on state subjects according to Article 249. So, I have discussed the entire procedure for making of such laws. Alright. So this is Article 249. Next, coming to Article 250. So already we have seen this Article 250. So Article 250 empowers Parliament to make laws on state subjects during national emergency. So Article 250 deals with power of Parliament. Power of Parliament. Power of Parliament to make laws on state subjects. To make laws on state subjects during national emergency. During national emergency. So whenever there is national emergency, even in such condition, alright, Parliament can make laws on the national emergency. So under Article 249, Parliament makes laws on state subjects in the name of national interest. Article 250, Parliament make laws on state subjects whenever there is a national emergency. So one is about national interest, other one is about national emergency. Alright, so already we have seen how national emergency is imposed. First of all, this national emergency should be ratified by Parliament. So without ratification by Parliament, without ratification of national emergency, by Parliament, alright, the Lok Sabha cannot make laws on state subjects. Laws cannot be made on state subjects. Alright. So first of all, national emergency should be ratified, and we know, and we have discussed the procedure for ratification of national emergency. We have discussed the procedure for ratification of national emergency. Okay, that is passing of resolution in both the houses separately by special majority. That is a procedure for ratification of emergency. That means in national emergency, first a resolution should be passed in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha with special majority, then laws are allowed to be made. But here in case of national interest, only special majority in Rajya Sabha but not in Lok Sabha. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, నేషనల్ ఎమర్జెన్సీకి అయితేనేమో లోక్ సభలో రాజ్యసభలో రెండిట్లోనూ స్పెషల్ మెజారిటీ కావాలి. అదే నేషనల్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్లో అయితే ఇట్ ఈస్ ఓన్లీ స్పెషల్ మెజారిటీ ఇన్ రాజ్యసభ, రైట్. సో దిస్ ఈస్ హౌ యూ విల్ బి ట్విస్టెడ్ ఇన్ యూపీఎస్సీ ప్రిలిమ్స్ ఎగ్జామ్. ప్రిలిమ్స్ ఎగ్జామ్లో క్వశ్చన్స్ ఇలానే ట్విస్ట్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారు, రైట్. సో వెన్ యూ ఆర్ ప్రిపేరింగ్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జామ్, do keenly observe each and everything. Do keenly observe each and everything. All right. So this is what you should know. Now apart from this, all right, apart from national interest and national emergency, even states can delegate their legislative powers under article 252. Under article 252, states can delegate their legislative powers. All right, states can delegate their legislative powers. All right. So that means what? States they themselves, అంటే స్టేట్స్ వాటంతకు అవే, రైట్, పార్లమెంట్కి పవర్స్ ఇవ్వడం. వాట్ డూ మీన్ బై డెలిగేషన్? వాట్ డూ మీన్ బై డెలిగేషన్? Delegation is nothing but transferring of powers. Transfer of powers. So states can transfer their powers. States can transfer their power to center. Alright, states simply can transfer their power to center. That is, they can delegate their legislative powers. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, it is under article 252. Under article 252, states can delegate their legislative powers to the parliament. States can delegate their legislative powers to the parliament. Alright. So there is a procedure for this. Alright. So under article 252, whenever two or more states, alright, by passing a resolution, right, in legislative assembly, assemblies of their own, by passing a resolution in legislative assemblies of their own, they can delegate their powers. Alright. సో వెన్నెవర్ టూ ఆర్ మోర్ స్టేట్స్, ఖచ్చితంగా రెండు కానీ అంతకు మించి కానీ, రైట్. సో స్టేట్స్ కెన్ డెలిగేట్ దేర్ పవర్స్. ఒకవేళ స్టేట్స్ తన పవర్స్ని పార్లమెంట్కి ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేయాలి అంటే ముందుగా తన ఓన్ అసెంబ్లీస్లో అంటే స్టేట్ లెజిస్లేచర్స్లో ఒక రెజల్యూషన్ పాస్ కావాలి. రెజల్యూషన్ పాస్ చేసిన తర్వాతనే స్టేట్స్ కెన్ డెలిగేట్ దేర్ పవర్స్ టు ది సెంటర్. సో వితౌట్ పాసింగ్ a resolution in their state legislative assemblies, right, without passing a resolution in state legislative assembly, there cannot be delegation of powers. Powers cannot be delegated. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, డెలిగేట్ చేయాలి అంటే రెజల్యూషన్ పాస్ కావాలి. ఎక్కడ? లెజిస్లేటివ్ అసెంబ్లీలో. అంటే అర్థం ఏంటిది? స్టేట్ ప్రజల పర్మిషన్ తీసుకోకుండా. వాట్ యు మీన్ బై అసెంబ్లీస్? పీపుల్స్ రిప్రజెంటేటివ్స్, ఎమ్మెల్యేస్, ఎమ్మెల్సీస్, ఎమ్మెల్యేస్, దీస్ ఆర్ ది పీపుల్స్ రిప్రజెంటేటివ్స్. సో అంటే ప్రజల యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ తీసుకునే స్టేట్స్ తన పవర్ని సెంటర్కి ఇవ్వగలదు. అర్థమవుతుంది కదా. సో ఇది పద్ధతి. సో స్టేట్స్ by passing a resolution, right, in their own state legislative assembly with special majority. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, it is special majority that is required, by special majority, right. So it is by special majority, right. States can delegate their power to the center. So resolution passed by at least 2 states, కనీసము 2 స్టేట్స్ రెజల్యూషన్ పాస్ చేయాలి. అలా పాస్ చేయకుండా పార్లమెంట్ కెన్ నాట్ మేక్ లాస్. ఒకవేళ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేద్దాము అనుకుంటే ఇది పద్ధతి, రైట్. మినిమం 2 స్టేట్స్, రైట్, ఒక తీర్మానం పాస్ చేసుకొని పార్లమెంట్కి తన పవర్స్ ఇవ్వచ్చు. సో దట్ ఈస్ స్టేట్స్ కెన్ డెలిగేట్ దర్ పవర్ టు పార్లమెంట్ బై పాసింగ్ ఎ రెజల్యూషన్ in their own legislative assembly by special majority, right. So when such powers are being delegated, then parliament can make laws. Whenever states delegate their power, parliament can make laws. Right. So this is how laws are made. Laws are made by parliament on state subjects. So in this case, parliament can make laws on state subjects. So we have seen 3 different conditions. One is national interest, second one is during national emergency, and third one is whenever, right, states request, right, upon the request of states. That is, states can delegate their powers. States can States can delegate their legislative powers to the parliament by passing a resolution. So there are 3 conditions. Where parliament can make laws on state subjects. One is during national interest. Second one is during national emergency. And third one is whenever, right, upon the request of states by delegating their powers. Right. So this is article 252 is. This is article 252. Right. So under article 249, under article 250 and under article 252, alright, a very very important area for UPSC mains exam, alright. Center state relations lo question అడగాలి అనుకుంటే ఇది ఒక ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఏరియా, alright. Take down a question on this point. Discuss various grounds where parliament can make laws on state subjects. Discuss various grounds where parliament can make laws on state subjects. Okay. First I have given the answer. So these are different grounds, 1, 2, 3. These are 3 different grounds, and you should even, what you need to do is you need to just explain these grounds. You should explain these grounds for making laws. So I have given the answer already. No need to worry about it. So there is an answer here, and you just need to elaborate it. Am I clear? About article 249, article 250, article 252. all these three articles, they empower the parliament to make laws on state subjects, but on different grounds. One is in the name of national interest, other one in the name of national emergency, and third one is whenever two or more states request the parliament to make laws. రెండు కానీ అంతకు మించి కానీ స్టేట్స్ రిక్వెస్ట్ చేసినప్పుడు పార్లమెంట్ స్టేట్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్ మీద లాస్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి ఇక్కడ, రైట్, the laws which are made by parliament under article 252, the laws which are made by parliament under article 252, they can be implemented in any other state, right? So though it is requested 2 or 3 states or more, not only requested states, ఏ స్టేట్స్ అయితే రిక్వెస్ట్ చేసినాయో ఆ స్టేట్సే కాకుండా మిగతా స్టేట్స్ కూడా, ఈవెన్ అదర్ స్టేట్స్ కెన్ అప్లై ద లాస్ మేడ్ బై పార్లమెంట్ అండర్ ఆర్టికల్ 252. దిస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ పాయింట్ టు నోట్. సో even other states can apply the laws made under article 252. Other states can apply the laws made under article 252, right? So any state, I'll give simple example. Just think that Andhra and Telangana has requested parliament to make the laws. Upon the request of Andhra and Telangana, parliament has made a law. Tomorrow, right, though it is requested by 2 states today, tomorrow say Tamil Nadu can apply the same law made by parliament, but the condition is before application of such law, a resolution should be passed in their own state legislative assembly. So without passing a resolution, alright, the states cannot apply these laws. Right? So application of laws, so any state can apply these laws. ఏ స్టేట్ అయినా ఈ లాస్ని అప్లై చేసుకోవచ్చు, ఎవరైనా సరే దీన్ని అప్లై చేసుకోవచ్చు. రైట్? సో వితౌట్, ద ఓన్లీ థింగ్ ఈస్ it requires a resolution to be passed in the state legislative assembly. So without passing a resolution in the legislative assembly, such laws under article 252 cannot be applied. ఒకటే కండిషన్, ఆర్టికల్ 252 ప్రకారం పాస్ చేసిన ఏ లా అయినా సరే, రైట్, ఏ స్టేట్ అయినా దాన్ని అప్లై చేసుకోవచ్చు, రైట్. కాకపోతే ఇట్ రిక్వైర్స్ అ రెజల్యూషన్ టు బి పాస్డ్ ఇన్ దేర్ legislative assembly. So this is the procedure. This is the procedure for passing laws on state subjects, right? So we have seen 3 different cases, all right? And there is another case, all right? Passing of laws by parliament to implement international agreements. So our constitution has empowered parliament to make laws for implementing any international agreement, right? Parliament has every power to make laws on every laws to implement international agreement. Just to be online. So our constitution has empowered parliament. To make laws on power of parliament to make laws to implement international agreements. So for implementing international agreements, parliament can make laws. And remember, these international agreements can be applied in the entire nation or in any part of the nation. in any part of the country. So the laws made by Parliament can be applied in the whole of India, in the whole of the country, in whole of India, or they can be applied in any part of India, either whole of India or any part of India, right? So this is what the condition is. This is what the condition, all right? So that means what? Parliament has every power. Parliament has every power to implement international agreements. So when we are a part of global community, so every member of that institution have the responsibility of implementing international agreements, right? I'll give one simple example, very easy example to make you understand this point. Ramsar Convention. Ramsar Convention. What is this Ramsar Convention is? What is Ramsar Convention? What is Ramsar Convention? Can anyone in the class? What is Ramsar Convention? Do you have any idea? I want you to give the answers. Ramsar Convention ante entivi? How many of you know about Kolleru Lake? Kolleru. Kolleru Lake. Ekkadundi cheppandi? Where is Kolleru Lake? Where is Kolleru Lake? Kolleru Lake ekkadundi? No one knows. So sad. Not in Nellore. It is not in Nellore. It is in West Godavari. Eluru daggara untadi. It is a part of West Godavari. Kolleru Lake annadi chala famous. It is a wetland, right? So Kolleru Lake, right? A freshwater lake in Andhra Pradesh. All right, it is in West Godavari near to Eluru. All right, gurtu pettukondi. So Ramsar Convention is an international law. It is an international convention to protect wetlands. It is to protect wetlands. The purpose of this Ramsar Convention. The purpose of Ramsar Convention is to protect wetlands. All right. So gurtu pettukondi. It is to protect wetlands, right? So this is an international convention. So to implement this convention, Parliament can make laws, and the laws made by Parliament can be implemented in the entire nation or only a part of the nation, right? So this is what the power of Parliament, right? So power of Parliament to implement international agreements, power of Parliament to make, to implement international agreements. Though these subjects are in the state list, but still Parliament has the power. Parliament has the power to make laws, to implement any international agreement which even affect the subjects which are mentioned in state list, right? So these are different areas. Now coming to distribution of executive powers, right? Same as legislative powers, even there is a clear distribution of executive powers. There is a clear distribution of executive powers, right? That is, center has the responsibility, executive powers. That means what? The power to implement the laws, execution of laws, implementation of laws. It is execution of laws, execution of laws or implementation of laws. Execution of laws or implementation of laws. So center implements the laws made by parliament, right? Center implements the laws of parliament. Then what about state? States will implement the laws made by legislative assembly. Alright, the laws made by legislative assembly. So center has the power, the executive powers of center. The executive powers of center, it corresponds to the laws made by parliament, whereas the executive powers of state, it corresponds to the laws made by legislative assembly. Alright, this is one thing, and both are mutually barred to interfere. Right, both center and states are mutually barred, that is they are mutually barred to interfere. They are mutually barred to interfere in each other's executive responsibilities or each other's executive powers. That means center should not interfere with the executive powers of states, and similarly state should not interfere with the executive powers of center, right? So both center and states are mutually barred. Both center and states are mutually barred from each other's interference. రైట్, సెంటర్ స్టేట్లో ఇంటర్ఫియర్ కావడానికి వీలు లేదు, స్టేట్స్ సెంటర్తో ఇంటర్ఫియర్ కావడానికి వీలు లేదు. తల దూర్చడము, రైట్, సెంటర్ స్టేట్ పవర్స్లో తల దూర్చకూడదు, స్టేట్స్ సెంటర్లో తల దూర్చకూడదు. ఇది బోత్ ఆర్ మ్యూచువల్లీ ఆబ్లిగ్డ్. So there is a mutual obligation. There is an obligation on both center as well as states, right? So there is a what do you call, and the executive powers of center, right, they corresponds with the legislative powers of center, whereas the executive powers of states, they corresponds with the legislative powers of the states. So there is a simply coincidence between legislative powers as well as executive powers. There is a coincidence between, so they coincides with the each other's legislative and executive powers, right? And not only this, though there is clear separation of powers, though there is clear division of powers, so whatever we are talking about, it is about division of powers. It is division of powers. Whether division of powers and separation of powers are same, whether division of powers and separation of powers are same, రెండు ఒకటేనా? Whether division of powers and separation of powers, whether both are same. Now I want your answer to give. I want your answer. Whether they are same or different. So division of powers is different from separation of powers. Division of powers is different from separation of powers. Both are not same, they are different. Both are not same, they are different. Separation of powers is different from division of powers. Separation of powers is different from division of powers. Alright, so whatever we are discussing till now, so whatever the distribution of legislative, executive and financial powers, the entire 7th schedule, it is about division of powers. We are talking about division of powers. So vertical distribution, division of powers means it is vertical distribution of powers. Gurtu pettukondi, right? It is about vertical distribution of powers between different levels of government. So distribution of powers between union, states and local bodies. Even we have local bodies also. యూనియన్ గవర్నమెంట్, స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్ అండ్ లోకల్ గవర్నమెంట్స్. అంటే ఈ 3 టైర్స్ మధ్యన, ఈ 3 లెవెల్స్ ఆఫ్ గవర్నమెంట్ మధ్యన డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ ఆఫ్ పవర్సే డివిజన్ ఆఫ్ పవర్స్. కమింగ్ టు సపరేషన్ ఆఫ్ పవర్స్, ఇట్ ఈస్ హారిజాంటల్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్. సో మీకు సేలియంట్ ఫీచర్స్లో ఇవన్నీ చెప్పిన. హారిజాంటల్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ ఆఫ్ పవర్స్. So if you take this horizontal distribution of powers, it means, right, distribution of powers between legislature, executive and judiciary, 3 organs of the states. 3 organs of state. Alright. So it is distribution of, in division of powers, it is between different levels of government. In separation of powers, it is between different organs of the state. Correct? That is between legislature, executive and judiciary. Alright? So this is what the difference. Right? So our discussion is on this division of powers. So though our constitution has clearly divided the powers between center and states, though there is a clear division of powers, between center and states, remember, alright, the same constitution, the Indian constitution allowed a mutual cooperation. It allowed what you call delegation of executive powers, right? Division of powers unnapatiki, there is delegation. The purpose of delegation is to promote mutual cooperation. Mutual cooperation between center and states, right? Mutual cooperation between center and states, right? So the purpose of this what you call cooperation, delegation, the purpose of delegation is to promote mutual cooperation. It is to promote mutual cooperation. So though there is delegation of powers, there is also mutual cooperation. Alright. So wherever possible, so already we have seen ఇంతకుముందు చూసినాం మనం ఆర్టికల్ 252 లో. In article 252 what is done? In article 252 what we have seen? Delegation of legislative powers by states to the center. అదే కదా మనం చూసింది. సో states requesting the center to make laws. Just now we have seen this. Alright, article 252 lo we have seen what you call delegation of powers between 2 or more states. Alright. So that is what states asking the parliament to make laws. It is a case of delegation. Alright. So now same as legislative powers, there can be also delegation of executive powers. So our constitution has allowed delegation of executive powers. Article 258 and Article 258A, right? They deal with Article 258 and Article 258A deals with delegation of executive powers. So these executive powers can be delegated from center to states, at the same time states to center. That means there can be delegation of powers. From center to states as well as from states to center. Alright. So this is what we see. So let us examine how the powers are delegated from center to states. So it can be done either by President of India. The President of India can, the office of President is one route. Second one, it can be done by a law of Parliament. That means we have two different ways. We have two different ways of delegating the powers. We have two different ways of delegating the executive powers from center to states. One is through president, other one is through parliament, right? So president of India can confer, right, the executive powers, the executive responsibilities onto the states. That means though a law is made by parliament, but still that law is implemented by states, right? That is, the laws of parliament are executed by states. It is laws of parliament being executed. It is being executed by states. It is being executed by states. All right. So it is parliament that can impose, the parliament can or the laws of parliament can be executed by states. So it can be done by whom? President of India. President of India can direct the governor of the state. Directing, that is, President of India can order by an order of president. The executive responsibilities of the center can be placed onto the states, right? So by the directions of the center, by the directions of president, or by the order of president, right? The executive responsibility, right? The executive responsibility can be conferred on, the executive responsibility can be conferred on whom? It can be conferred on states. So president can simply order the governor and place and confer the executive responsibilities onto the states. ఇది ఒక విధానం. అంటే అర్థం ఏంటిది? ప్రెసిడెంట్ తన ఆర్డర్ ద్వారా, రైట్, గవర్నర్కి రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీస్ని ఇవ్వడం, స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్కి రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీస్ ఇవ్వడం. అంటే ఏంటిది? బై అ ప్రెసిడెన్షియల్ ఆర్డర్. ఇది ఒక పద్ధతి. ఇంకోటి ఏంటిది? ఇఫ్ అ లా ఈజ్ మేడ్ బై పార్లమెంట్, then it is mandatory for the states to implement the laws of parliament. Most of the central sponsored schemes, they are implemented by states. Most of the centrally sponsored schemes are implemented by states. So here, who is making a law? Laws are made by parliament. So by a law of parliament, an executive responsibility can be conferred onto the states. An executive responsibility can be conferred onto the states. Alright. So this is what the point is. Alright. So there are two different ways. That is, there are two different ways of conferring responsibilities. One is by the order of president, and the second one is by a law of parliament. So am I clear about the delegation of executive powers from center to states? Whether I am clear about the delegation of executive powers from center to states? Yes or no? Am I clear or not? So please do respond. See, your response is very important. I cannot take class mechanically. Okay. Okay, then for now I'll take a break here. We'll meet after 10 minutes. Coming to our class. So we have seen how the executive powers of center can be delegated to the states. Similarly, and here there is one point that we should think about, whether the state's acceptance is required or not. Acceptance of states. Whether acceptance of states is required or not. That is consent. అంటే స్టేట్స్ అంగీకారం అవసరం ఉందా లేదా, అదే పాయింట్. You should know one point. So center can delegate the powers. Center can delegate the powers even without the consent of states, right? So consent of state is not required. Consent of states is not required. So without the consent of state, without the consent of states, center can delegate the powers. అంటే స్టేట్స్ అంగీకారము అవసరం లేదు. స్టేట్స్ ఒప్పుకున్నా ఒప్పుకోకపోయినా సెంటర్ కెన్ డెలిగేట్ ది పవర్ టు ది స్టేట్స్. రైట్, దిస్ ఈజ్ వాట్ వీ షుడ్ నో. రైట్, ది యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ స్టేట్ ఈస్ నాట్ రిక్వైర్డ్. Am I clear? So next, moving on to the reverse way, that is delegation of powers from states to center. From states to center. So if you take this what you call delegation of powers, if you take delegation of powers from states to center, this can be done, right, if center accepts. If center accepts. So without acceptance of center, states cannot delegate their power. Without acceptance of center, states cannot delegate their power. So delegation of powers requires, right, acceptance of center. So without the acceptance of center, states cannot delegate their power. చూడండి, స్టేట్స్ నుంచి సెంటర్ డెలిగేట్ చేయాలి అంటే ఖచ్చితంగా సెంటర్ యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ ఉండాల్సిందే. సెంటర్ యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ లేకుండా స్టేట్స్ అన్నది తన పవర్స్ని డెలిగేట్ చేయలేదు. రైట్, సో ఇంతకుముందు చూసినాం మనం. ఇఫ్ యు టేక్ సెంటర్ టు స్టేట్స్కి ఇష్టం ఉన్నా లేకున్నా సెంటర్ కెన్ డెలిగేట్ ద పవర్. కానీ అదే స్టేట్స్ విషయానికి వచ్చినప్పుడు, ఇఫ్ స్టేట్స్ వాంట్ టు డెలిగేట్ దేర్ పవర్ టు సెంటర్, ఇట్ రిక్వైర్స్ యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ సెంటర్. అదే తేడా. సెంటర్ టు స్టేట్స్, నో యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ రిక్వైర్డ్. ఫ్రమ్ సెంటర్ టు స్టేట్స్ టు సెంటర్, యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ ఈస్ రిక్వైర్డ్. సో సెంటర్ టు స్టేట్స్, నో యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ రిక్వైర్డ్. States to center, acceptance is required. ఇదే తేడా. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ ద డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ దీస్ టూ. దిస్ అ డిఫరెన్స్. సో మేక్ షూర్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ డిఫరెన్స్. సో ఇండియాలో పవర్స్ ఎక్కువ ఎవరికి ఉన్నాయి, సెంటర్కా స్టేట్స్కా? ఆఫ్టర్ సీయింగ్ దిస్, రైట్, హూ హ్యాస్ మోర్ పవర్స్, వెదర్ సెంటర్ ఆర్ స్టేట్స్? No, I want you to give the answers. We have seen what you call the powers of center as well as the powers of states. Now, who has more powers, center or states? Don't you think that in Indian Constitution, Indian Constitution is central biased? To whom it is biased, whether center or states? What about the people who are not I think you don't want to answer. Alright. So if you look at these powers, center has more powers when compared to the states. Center has more powers when compared to the states. So Indian constitution is biased towards center. Biased towards center. It is biased towards center. Right? That is the reason why Indian constitution is more unitary and less federal. If you take KC Ware, when we have discussed Article 1, right, we said that, right, Indian Federation is more unitary and less federal. Indian Federation is described as a federation with centralizing tendency. So why it is called as centralizing tendency? Why it is called as centralizing tendency? Because it is called as centralizing tendency because the powers of center are more when compared to the powers of states. The powers of center are more when compared to the powers of states. Alright, that is the reason why it is called as central biased towards center. Alright, this is what you should know. Alright, so there is one point coming to concurrent subjects. So let me give a clarity on concurrent subjects. Right, so normally concurrent subjects which are mentioned in list 3. So till now we have seen, right, the subjects mentioned in list 1 as well as list 2. That is, we have seen the extension of powers of center and states. Coming to concurrent subjects which are mentioned in list 3. So list 3 of Indian Constitution, it deals with, list 3 of Indian Constitution deals with concurrent subjects, and on these concurrent subjects, both center and states have power. Center and states have powers on these concurrent subjects. Right? The best examples of these concurrent subjects, that is education, is a concurrent subject. You take subjects like education, forestry, right, animal husbandry, agriculture, justice. So these were the subjects which are transferred from state list to concurrent list. Original ga ee 5 subjectlu state list lo undegi. Kaani emaindi Indira Gandhi government 42nd Amendment Act. By 42nd Amendment Act, these subjects are transferred to concurrent list. So they are transferred from state list to concurrent list. Alright. So best example, let me take the case of education. Education అన్న సబ్జెక్ట్ మీద, రైట్, సెంటర్ లా చేయొచ్చు, స్టేట్స్ కూడా లాస్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. రైట్, ద సబ్జెక్ట్స్ విచ్ ఆర్ మెన్షన్డ్ ఇన్ concurrent subjects, both center and states can make laws as long as there is no conflict. Right, both the laws will prevail. Conflict లేనంత వరకు, right, both the laws will be implemented. Right, now in case of conflict, ఒకవేళ if there is a conflict between, right, laws of center and laws of state, ultimately it is the laws of center that will prevail over the laws of state. Right, so ultimately it is the laws of center that will prevail over the laws of state. Right, so ఒకవేళ కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్స్ రెండు కాన్ఫ్లిక్టింగ్ ఉన్నప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, సెంటర్ చేసిన లాస్ మాత్రమే ఇంప్లిమెంట్ అవుతాయి, స్టేట్ లాస్ కాదు. అర్థమవుతుందా? అల్టిమేట్గా ఇట్ ఈస్ ద సెంట్రల్ లా దట్ విల్ ప్రివేల్ ఓవర్ ది స్టేట్ లాస్. రైట్, సో దిస్ ఈజ్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్ బిట్వీన్ సెంట్రల్ లాస్ అండ్ స్టేట్ లాస్. Am I clear to you on this concurrent subjects? So both center and states can have power, but in case of conflict, it is the central law that will prevail over the state laws. Okay. So this is what about. concurrent subjects, right? So now let us talk about distribution of financial powers between center and states, right? So let me talk about distribution of financial powers. Distribution of financial powers, same as legislative and executive powers, same as legislative and executive powers. Our constitution also distributed, our constitution has also distributed the taxation powers. So here it is simply about distribution of taxation powers, taxation powers between center and states. So there is a clear distribution. There is a clear distribution of taxation powers between center and states. So states have their own subjects, center has their own subjects. That is subjects for taxation. Land revenue, it is the state subject. Wealth tax, it is state subjects. Professional tax, it is a state subjects. Right? Tax on agriculture income, it is a state subject. So likewise, toll tax, it is a state subject. So states have their own subjects of taxation. Similarly, the center has their own subjects of taxation. Income tax, import duties, export duties, right? So these are the subjects. I am just giving the examples. So center has its own subjects as well as states have their own subjects, and there are subjects where center can impose the taxes and the taxes are being used by center as well as states, right? So that is what the distribution of financial powers. But if you take this distribution of financial powers, there is a great mistake or anomaly in our Indian constitution. That is, the taxation powers of center are more when compared to the taxation powers of states. That means in terms of revenues, revenue paranga chuskunte, the taxation powers of center, the taxation powers of center is more when compared to the states. That means center has more revenue generation. Center has more revenue generation, right, when compared to the states, right? And recently we have seen GST, right, goods and service tax, GST being launched. Right, we have GST, we have SGST, we have IGST, right? So even if you take this GST, all right, the revenues of center have increased. So this is one of the particular point of debate in Indian Federation, right? If you take responsibilities, in terms of responsibilities, రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ వైజ్గా చూసుకుంటే స్టేట్స్కి ఉన్నంత రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీస్ సెంటర్కు ఉండవు. పర్టికులర్గా అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటివ్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీస్, ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ ఆఫ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్, ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ ఆఫ్ స్కీమ్స్. అంటే స్టేట్స్, ఇఫ్ టేక్ స్టేట్ షుడ్ ఇంప్లిమెంట్ దేర్ ఓన్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్. అట్ ద సేమ్ టైమ్ స్టేట్ షుడ్ ఆల్సో ఇంప్లిమెంట్ ది సెంట్రల్లీ స్పాన్సర్డ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్. మనకు సిఎస్ఎస్ అని అంటాం, సెంట్రల్లీ స్పాన్సర్డ్ స్కీమ్స్ యాజ్ సెంట్రల్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్. So state government has a responsibility, state government has a burden of implementing both center as well as state programs. కానీ ఇక్కడ if you take the revenues available, because without spending money you cannot implement. So any kind of implementation it requires, any kind of implementation requires particular revenues. ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయాలి అంటే డబ్బులు ఉండాలి, ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ చేయాలి, ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ చేస్తేనే ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ జరుగుతుంది. మరి నిజంగానే స్టేట్స్ దగ్గర అంత స్పెండ్ చేసే కెపాసిటీ ఉందా? ఇఫ్ టేక్ స్పెండింగ్ కెపాసిటీ ఆఫ్ స్టేట్స్, రెవెన్యూ జనరేషన్, రెవెన్యూస్ తక్కువ ఉన్నప్పుడు ఆటోమేటిక్గా స్పెండింగ్ కూడా తక్కువనే ఉంటుంది. మరి స్పెండింగ్ తక్కువ ఉన్నప్పుడు వెన్ దెర్ ఈస్ లో స్పెండింగ్స్, దెర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ పాసిబుల్ టు ఇంప్లిమెంట్ ఆల్ ద ప్రోగ్రామ్స్? ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ పాసిబుల్. డబ్బులు లేనప్పుడు it is not possible to implement all the programs, right? So this is the kind of sandwich situation which states are facing today. ఇప్పుడు స్టేట్స్కు ఉన్న అతి ముఖ్యమైన ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటిదంటే తన రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ తగ్గట్టు రెవెన్యూ జనరేషన్ లేదు, తన రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీస్ తగ్గట్టు ట్యాక్సేషన్ పవర్స్ లేవు. అందుకనే వాట్ స్టేట్స్ ఆర్ డిమాండింగ్, What states are demanding is, states are demanding more taxation powers. ఇదే ఇప్పుడు పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ డిబేట్ ఇండియన్ ఫెడరేషన్లో ప్రజెంట్ ఛాలెంజ్ ఏంటిదంటే, స్టేట్స్ ఆర్ డిమాండింగ్ మోర్ ట్యాక్సేషన్ పవర్స్ ఫ్రమ్ సెంటర్. సెంటర్ ఇవ్వనంటుంది, స్టేట్స్ డిమాండ్ చేస్తున్నాయి. there is a kind of conflict between center and states. So this is the most important conflict between center and states in India today. Taxation powers దగ్గరే. ఎందుకంటే స్టేట్స్ దగ్గర రెవెన్యూ లేనప్పుడు, స్టేట్స్ స్పెండ్ చేయనప్పుడు ఆటోమేటిక్గా దే షుడ్ టేక్ లోన్స్ అగైన్ ఫ్రమ్ వేర్ దే షుడ్ టేక్ లోన్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ది సెంటర్. అప్పులు చేసి ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయాలి. అప్పు ఎక్కడి నుంచి తీసుకొచ్చుకోవాలి? సెంటర్ నుంచి తీసుకొచ్చుకోవాలి. Do that center will provide the loans? Now this is the question mark. This is the biggest question mark. సెంటర్ లోన్స్ ఇస్తాయా లేదా, సెంటర్ లోన్ ఇస్తుందా లేదా అన్నది పెద్ద డిబేట్. అది ఇవ్వచ్చు, ఇవ్వకపోవచ్చు. ఇట్ డిపెండ్స్ అపాన్ ది సెంటర్ స్టేట్ రిలేషన్స్. It purely depends upon the relations maintained by center and states. If states have good relations with center, obviously they will get every kind of fund. వాళ్ళకి కావాల్సిన అప్పులు వస్తాయి, వాళ్ళకి కావాల్సిన గ్రాంట్స్ వస్తాయి. If states doesn't have a good relations, if states don't have good relations, what will happen? Whether center will provide the loans. If there are no good relations maintained, whether center will provide loans or not. What do you see? Come on, the one who are in online, comment. Give your answers in comment box. రిలేషన్స్ బాగుంటే లోన్స్ వస్తాయి, రిలేషన్స్ బాగాలేకపోతే డెఫినెట్లీ దే వోంట్ గెట్ వాట్ టు కాల్ లోన్స్, రైట్? సో దిస్ ఈస్ అ ఫైట్ గోయింగ్ బిట్వీన్ సెంటర్ అండ్ స్టేట్స్, రైట్? సో to avoid these kind of conflicts, our constitution has provided a constitutional institution which is called as Central Finance Commission. Central Finance Commission. Our constitution has provided what you call an institution called as Central Finance Commission, right? So shortly I call it as CFC, alright? So this Central Finance Commission is always, this Central Finance Commission always acts as a balancing wheel of Indian fiscal federalism, right? It is intended to act as balancing wheel of Indian fiscal federalism. Indian fiscal federalism. So that is, it should balance the fiscal relations, the financial relations between center and state. So it is required to act as a balancing wheel of Indian fiscal federalism, promoting fiscal federalism, protecting the interest of both center as well as states, right? So Article 280 of Indian Constitution, Article 280 of Indian Constitution deals with this Central Finance Commission. Okay, now though our framers of constitution has provided a finance commission, but in fact the composition of the commission as well as functions of commission, అంటే మన కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్లో కాంపోజిషన్ కానీ ఫంక్షన్స్ కానీ క్లియర్గా మెన్షన్ చెయ్యలేదు. ఇన్ అవర్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ we don't have a clear mention of the composition of finance commission or the functions of finance commission, right? So Finance Commission Act of 1951, Finance Commission Act of 1951, it is this act which was passed, it is this act which has provided the kind of composition as well as functions, right? So the functions of Finance Commission as well as the composition of Finance Commission, it is given by this Finance Commission Act of 1951. Okay, all right? So let me first talk about composition. So remember, all right, it consists of a chairperson, consists of a chairperson and 4 other members. It consists of chairperson and 4 other members, and all these members are appointed by President of India. It is President of India who appoints all these members. So all the members of Finance Commission, they are appointed by President of India, right? So normally they are taken from, if you take all these chairperson and other 4 other members, that is these 5 members, they are choose from different backgrounds. Say for example, they are choose from public policy and public affairs. Members are choose from judicial background, normally a retired chief justice or retired judge of Supreme Court. Retired judge of Supreme Court is appointed as one of the members. Members are choose from accounts, financial administration, economics. So members with different backgrounds. So it is these backgrounds. So members from these backgrounds are chosen in Finance Commission, right? So normal, that means in other ways, ఇంకోలా చెప్పాలంటే the members of Finance Commission, they are normally from these backgrounds, right? So all they are appointed by President of India. Right? So the recommendations given by Finance Commission, they are normally appointed, they are normally implemented for 5 years. The recommendations of Finance Commission are implemented for 5 years. They are implemented for 5 years. The recommendations of Finance Commission are implemented for 5 years, right? Okay. So the duty of this Finance Commission is only to provide recommendations, right? The duty of this commission is to provide recommendations. So recommendations ichchenta varake commission badyata. That means what? The commission will be dissolved once the recommendations are given to President. So remember, the entire report of Finance Commission is submitted to President of India. The report is submitted to President of India. It is given to President of India. The recommendations of Finance Commission. Are, that is the Finance Commission submits its report to the President, right? So it is appointed by President, the report is submitted to President. And coming to removal, even if you take removal of this Finance Commission, so the members of Finance Commission, in case if they are to be removed, right, they will be removed by President on the report of Supreme Court, right, on the inquiry by Supreme Court. So normally, ultimately, it is the President who removes them. But this removal is done only after inquiry by Supreme Court, right? So appointed by President, removed by President, the report is submitted to President, right? So this is what about the composition of Finance Commission, right? So are you clear about the composition of Finance Commission? Are you clear about the composition of Finance Commission? What about the people who are online? అర్థమైందా లేదా కాంపోజిషన్ ఆఫ్ ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్? మీ ఇష్టం. నౌ కమింగ్ టు ఫంక్షన్స్ ఆఫ్ ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్, చాలా 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 ఇంపార్టెంట్, రైట్? Functions of Finance Commission, Article 282 of the Constitution. Article 282 of the Constitution that deals with functions of Finance Commission. Functions of Finance Commission, right? So it is this Finance Commission, right, that recommends distribution of net proceeds. It recommends distribution of net proceeds, between center and states. Distribution of net proceeds between center and states. All right. Second one, the principles to be followed. The principles to be followed in such distribution. The principles to be followed in such distribution. All right. I'll explain each and every point. It is this Finance Commission that will determine grants in aid to be given to the states. Determining of grants in aid to the states. Determining of grants in aid to the states. Alright. Same time, the Finance Commission will recommend measures. It recommend measures to augment the consolidated fund of states. To augment the consolidated fund of states. All right. So these are important functions of Finance Commission. These are important functions of Finance Commission. Distribution of net proceeds of center, between center and state. That is, out of all the revenues received by center. Out of all the revenues received by center. All right. The net proceeds, that is after removing the expenditure. All right. So revenue after expenditure, the net revenue of center. The net revenue of center is distributed between center and states. ఇద్దరు పంచుకుంటారు. అంటే కొంత భాగాన్ని స్టేట్స్కి ఇవ్వాల్సింది. సెంటర్కి వచ్చిన రెవెన్యూలో, నెట్ రెవెన్యూలో కొంత భాగాన్ని స్టేట్స్కి ఇవ్వాలి. ఎంత ఇవ్వాలన్నది ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్ చెప్తుంది. రైట్. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ అ ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్ దట్ విల్ డిటర్మైన్ ద షేర్ ఆఫ్ స్టేట్స్. ఇట్ విల్ డిటర్మైన్ ద షేర్ ఆఫ్ స్టేట్స్ ఇన్ ది what you call net proceeds, distribution of net proceeds. The Finance Commission will determine the share of states in the net proceeds. It can be 30%, 35%, 45%, it can be anything. ఎంతైనా కావచ్చు. సే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నెట్ రెవెన్యూ 100 రూపాయలు ఉంటే అందులో 45 రూపీస్ స్టేట్స్కి ఇవ్వచ్చు. అది ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్ డిటర్మైన్ చేయడం. రైట్. సో ఇట్ వాస్ 37%. See, when I was writing my UPS exam, so I'm seeing this for last 14 years, last 20 years. Right from 2005, it was 35%, 37%, 38%. When Modi first time came to power, right, the share of state was increased to 42%. Again, it was brought down to 41%. So it is up to the center. A center ఇష్టం, ఎంత ఇవ్వాలన్నది సెంటర్ ఇష్టం, పెద్దన్న ఇష్టం. పెద్దన అంటే ఎవరు ఇక్కడ? సెంటర్. రైట్. సెంటర్ ఎలా చెప్తే అలానే. రైట్. సో నెట్ ప్రొసీడ్స్ between center and states, and the Finance Commission will also determine the share of states in the net proceeds. The principles to be followed. The principles to be followed by the principles to be followed in such distribution. So normally we take population, forest cover, the economic performance of the states, that is the GDP of the states, right? Then poverty. There are many parameters. It is up to the Finance Commission. It is up to the Finance Commission to choose the criteria and what you call determine the weightage of such criteria. ఏ క్రైటీరియా తీసుకోవాలి, ఏ క్రైటీరియాకి ఎంత వెయిటేజ్ ఇవ్వాలన్నది ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్ ఇష్టం. పాపులేషన్ ఉందనుకుందాం. పాపులేషన్, వాట్ ఈస్ ద వెయిటేజ్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ పాపులేషన్? ఎకనామిక్ పర్ఫార్మెన్స్, వెయిటేజ్ ఆఫ్ వాట్ యు కాల్ వెయిటేజ్ గివెన్ టు ఎకనామిక్ పర్ఫార్మెన్స్. రైట్. So this has become the controversy. In 15th Finance Commission, this was the biggest controversy on working of Finance Commission. Right? The controversy was on the weightage given to different parameters in distribution of net proceeds. Right? So it is the Finance Commission that will determine. It is a Finance Commission that will determine what you call the principles to be followed in such distribution. Coming to providing of grants in aid. సెంట్రల్ గ్రాంట్స్ టు స్టేట్స్, ఏ స్టేట్స్కి గ్రాంట్స్ ఇవ్వాలి, ఎంత గ్రాంట్స్ ఇవ్వాలి అన్నది కూడా వాట్ యు కాల్ ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్ చెప్తుంది. రైట్? సో ద గ్రాంట్స్ దట్ ఆర్ టు బి గివెన్ టు స్టేట్స్ ఆర్ డిటర్మైన్డ్ బై బై ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్. I'll take one simple example. Today there is a much debate on, it is not present debate, for last 10 years, that is from the time of what you call separation of Andhra and Telangana. Andhra was demanding a separate special status state. It was demanding for special status. Now, what is the reason for this special status? What is the advantage of getting special status to Andhra Pradesh? What is the advantage of having special status to Andhra Pradesh? స్పెషల్ స్టేటస్ ఇవ్వడం వల్ల వచ్చేది ఏంటి? ఏమైనా అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఉంటుందా? ఐ వాంట్ యూ టు గివ్ ది ఆన్సర్ బికాస్ యూ ఆర్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ సొసైటీ, యూ ఆర్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద స్టేట్ అండ్ వీఆర్ నో బోత్ ఇన్ Telugu speaking states. We are seeing this and it has become one of the important point even during elections. The states which have this status, the states which have this special status, they are given grants in aid. They will get additional grants. Right? So states with tribal population, states with what you call hill areas, states which share international boundaries. Right? కొన్ని స్టేట్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఇప్పుడు పంజాబ్ ఉంది, ఇట్ హ్యాస్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ బౌండరీ. నార్త్ ఈస్టర్న్ స్టేట్స్ దే హ్యావ్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ బౌండరీ. ద స్టేట్స్ హ్యావింగ్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ బౌండరీస్. Right? So these are some of the criterias which are to get the grants in aid. So it is Finance Commission. It is the Finance Commission that will determine the amount of grants in aid. It is the Finance Commission that will determine the amount of grants in aid to be given to the states. Right? So not only net proceeds, but even the states are given the grants. Right? The states with tribal population, the states with what you call hill areas, they are given these grants. Okay. All right. Coming to fourth point, measures to augment. So augment means strengthen the consolidated fund of states to meet the requirement of local bodies. It is to meet the requirements of local bodies. Right? So we know that this function was added by 73rd and 74th Amendment Acts. Right? So even Finance Commission, even Central Finance Commission will recommend measures to strengthen the financial position of the states. To strengthen the financial position of the states. That is to strengthen consolidated fund of states. Enduku? Because right, local bodies depend on the state governments. You take Panchayat Raj institutions. గ్రామ పంచాయతీ నుంచి మొదలు పెడితే జిల్లా పరిషత్ వరకు వాళ్ళకు కావాల్సిన ఫైనాన్షియల్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్స్, మున్సిపాలిటీస్, మున్సిపల్ కౌన్సిల్స్, మున్సిపల్ కార్పొరేషన్స్, నగర పంచాయత్స్. సో ద ఫైనాన్షియల్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ దీస్ లోకల్ బాడీస్, so to meet their financial requirements, these local bodies, they purely depend on the state governments. State should have enough finances. State government దగ్గర adequate finances ఉండాలి. అందుకనే ఫైనాన్సెస్ని ఎలా పెంచుకోవడం, వాటిని ఎలా స్ట్రెంథెన్ చేసుకోవడం అనేది ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్ CFC will recommend measures to strengthen the consolidated fund of the states. It is this which will help to meet the financial requirement of local bodies. That means the Central Finance Commission even have a role. Alright, the Central Finance Commission even have a role with respect to local bodies. Even they have a role with respect to the local bodies. Alright, so this is right. So this is what you call the functions of Finance Commission. Alright, this is what the functions of Finance Commission. ట్విస్ట్ ఏంటో చెప్పనా, ఇవన్నీ ఫంక్షన్స్ బాగానే ఉన్నాయి, కానీ పెద్ద ట్విస్ట్ ఏంటిదంటే ద రికమెండేషన్స్ గివెన్ బై ఫైనాన్స్ కమిషన్ ఆర్ నాట్ బైండింగ్ ఆన్ ది గవర్నమెంట్. దే ఆర్ నాట్ బైండింగ్ ఆన్ ది గవర్నమెంట్. దే ఆర్ అడ్వైజరీ ఇన్ నేచర్. దీస్ రికమెండేషన్స్ ఆర్ advisory in nature. They are just advisory in nature. That means what? The central government may accept the recommendations or may not accept the recommendations, or the center has every power to modify the recommendations. There can be modifications. So the recommendations can be accepted, right? May not be accepted, or they can, right, even they can be modified. So the recommendations are not binding on union. They are just advisory in nature. Am I clear to you? ఇంత మాట్లాడే లాస్ట్కి ఏమన్నాము, ఇవి అడ్వైజరీ మాత్రమే. సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఒప్పుకోవచ్చు, ఒప్పుకోకపోవచ్చు, అది యూనియన్ ఇష్టం. రైట్, అండ్ ఇఫ్ టు ఇంప్లిమెంట్ దీస్ రికమెండేషన్స్, right, these recommendations are implemented by passing a law in the parliament, which we normally call it as finance bills. Right, so these recommendations, they are implemented by using finance bills. Alright, so I'll talk about these finance bills when I teach budget. Alright, so there are the grants which are recommended by finance commission. We call them as statutory grants. They are called as statutory grants, and they are implemented by passing a law in parliament. These are nothing but finance laws. Simply we call them as financial laws or financial bills. Article 117, 117. Alright, so this is how the recommendations of finance commissions are implemented, if they are accepted, and center has no compulsion. Center has no compulsion to accept this recommendations of finance commission. Okay, am I clear to you? Am I clear to you about the finance commission? Am I clear to you on this finance commission? Alright, so take down a question in this regard. Take down a question. Explain the role of finance commission. Explain the role of finance commission as a balancing wheel of. Explain the role of finance commission as a balancing wheel of Indian fiscal federalism. As a balancing wheel of Indian fiscal federalism. Balancing wheel of Indian fiscal federalism. Indian fiscal federalism. By using reports of finance commission. By using reports of finance commission. That means you should explain this answer by using the examples. So what kind of examples? Just go for different reports given by finance commission. So it is by using the examples of reports of Finance Commission. Okay then. So for now I will stop this polity class, but before ending this class, I want to make one important information about optional classes. So from today we are launching public administration optional, which will start at 2:30. The class will be from 2:30 to 4 o'clock, right, for this week, and it will be live streamed on YouTube. So this is open for anyone. Anyone can join the class. They can see how and what is public administration, right? So, and from next week onwards the class will be on the app, right? So, but for this week it is open for everyone. It is live streamed on YouTube, right? So the interested candidates, they can join the class at 2:30, right? So do write the answers, right? I'm not getting an encouraging response from the students regarding the tests. We are conducting tests. I'm giving the questions, but coming to my expectation from the students, it is not up to the mark. So I would like you to write more number of answers. For me, success is very important. నేను మీ దగ్గర నుంచి కోరుకునేది ఒకటే, సక్సెస్ కావాలి అంటే రాయాలి, ఎగ్జామ్ రాయాలి, క్వశ్చన్స్ రాయాలి, ఎంసీక్యూస్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలి. నేను ఛాలెంజెస్ చెప్తా, మీరు నా మాట విని కరెక్ట్గా ఫాలో అయితే సక్సెస్ గ్యారంటీగా వస్తుంది. నేను మోటివేషన్ కోట్స్ చెప్పడము అవన్నీ నాకు యూజ్లెస్. అంటే ఐ డోంట్ లైక్ ఇన్ గివింగ్ ఆల్ దిస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ కోట్స్, రైట్? పీపుల్ ఆస్క్ మీ, సార్ మీరు మోటివేషన్ వీడియోస్ చేయొచ్చు కదా సార్ అంటే, నేను చెప్పే క్లాసే ఒక మోటివేషన్ అనిపిస్తుంది నాకు. రైట్ ఆన్సర్స్ రెగ్యులర్లీ, ప్రాక్టీస్ రెగ్యులర్లీ అండ్ ఎంజాయ్ ద సక్సెస్. కరెక్ట్గా మీరు ఈ 8 months మీరు ఎంత కష్టపడి చదివితే అక్కడే సక్సెస్. అది చాలు, మీకు ఇంకేం అవసరం లేదు. ఈ 8 months బాగా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి. ఎంసీక్యూస్, ఆన్సర్స్ రాయడము. అసలు నా మెయిల్ దాన్ని ఏంటిది, ఏం మెయిల్స్ రావట్లేదు నాకు ఆన్సర్స్. సో ఐ వుడ్ లైక్ ఎంజాయింగ్ విత్ ది టెస్ట్. మీరు రాయండి, ఆన్సర్స్ రాయండి, భయపడకుండా ఆన్సర్స్ రాయండి, రైట్? Okay, then for now I'll stop the class here. We'll meet in next class, that is at tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Mind, the class will start at 10 o'clock. So 10 to 12:30 will be the class. Alright? Okay, then for now we'll meet in tomorrow's class.